and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, I would like to talk about Stray Kids' Mixtape, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the storyline, the lyrics, and the music video. Mixtape is the song that marks the long-awaited return of Yoonjin as an active member of the group. This is a track that deals with the themes of growth, change, and maturity, and the story that is portrayed in the video not only captures their desire to reunite, but also their wish to go back to a moment of their life where they could enjoy their youth and be together once again. Now, this is a concept that can be applied to both the real life as well as the storyline the Stray Kids have been telling in their videos, because as many of you probably noticed, the events that we see in O are a direct sequel to what we saw in Mixtape on Track and Be Me. These three videos have been telling us a storyline that seems to be set in an alternative timeline in comparison to the main plot set in the dystopia, but as we'll see in a second, this parallel story might also have some elements in common with X, so without further ado, let's jump right in and see what's going on. Now, in the reality of the story, Stray Kids play the role of students who belong to a movie club where all of them have a specific role. This is a concept that was actually introduced all the way back in Awkward Silence, but the real beginning of this story can be found in Mixtape on Track, where the boys were portrayed in the process of shooting a short film called Even a Full Nose, which is none other than On Track's Korean title. In the story, Lino played the role of the main actor in the film. Ayan was the secondary actor and sidekick, Hyunjin was the cameraman, and Seungmin was the screenwriter, which is a role that he also reprised in Be Me as well. According to the board that we see in the video, moreover, Felix was the assistant director, Bangchan was the sound director, Changmin was the art director, while Han was the lighting director of the group. Altogether, the boys belonged to a movie club where they could express their creativity and have fun together in their youth, but in Be Me it was also revealed that the main goal of the club was to enter their movie in a film competition. As we saw in Unseen, however, this dream eventually goes up in flames because the boys' friendship is soon disrupted by a series of events that challenge their unity and put their relationship at risk. In Mixtape on Track, for instance, the first indication that the boys' friendship was in danger was actually portrayed by focusing on Mino and Hyunjin, who played the role of two friends who were in love with the same girl. Back in that video, we saw that the subject of their affection was the female protagonist of the film, who was a fellow member of the club who was at the center of a love triangle that soon becomes a source of conflict within the group. As we see in the video, both Mino and Hyunjin develop feelings for this girl. They try to be alone with her, they bring her milk, and try to get her attention the best way that they can. But even if the girl is friends with the both of them, the video also hints at the idea that she might prefer Mino over Hyunjin. The connection that Yoonjin notices between the two causes him to grow more and more jealous as time goes by, and his jealousy eventually results in Hyunjin interrupting the shooting, thus revealing his true feelings for the girl and ruining his friendship with Lino. Now flash forward to Be Me, where the first thing that we can notice is that Hyunjin grew his hair and that his resentment towards Mino grew along with it. As we see in the video, their love for the same girl took a toll on their relationship, but as it turns out, their friendship is not the only one that is at risk, because as we see the two of them confronting each other, we also see that the rest of the group got separated in the process. Now, one of the most interesting scenes in the video is actually the one about Ayan, who is shown laying on the ground with his face covered in bruises. In the behind the scenes, it was revealed that his injuries were actually caused by Seungmin in a moment where the two of them had a fight that does not appear in the story, and this event, alongside the conflict between Hyunjin and Mino, caused the group to get separated and their movie dream to fall apart. This drama, however, is far from over, because in the video we also see that Lino can never catch a break and is involved in an accident that leaves him injured on the ground. In the story, we see that Mino is eventually found by Han, but in the behind the scenes, it was also revealed that it was Han himself the one that caused this accident because he was the one driving the car when it crashed. This is an event that makes the situation even worse, so even if by the end we see that the boys cherish the time that they spent together and miss each other very much, the video also shows us that all the members are hurt by their dream and friendship coming to an end. Now this finally brings us to Mixtape O, where the song not only focuses on the changes that come with maturity, but also on their desire to reconnect with their youth. The Korean title of the song actually translates into child, so in the lyrics, the boys are talking about a relationship that is able to make them feel younger in a moment of their life where they're growing up and they're still struggling to adapt to this change. Now, even if in the song this is a romantic relationship, in the video this concept is portrayed with them longing for their friendship to go back the way it used to be in the past. As we saw back in On Track and Be Me, the experiences that they had together defined their youth and made them happy while they lasted, but now that this stage of their life is ending, the boys feel lost in a world that is too big for them to deal with. As we see in the video, this time around the story is set after the boys just graduated from school and they are in the process of packing their stuff in order to leave the club that got them together. We see Soon-min erasing the writings on the board and Felix is smiling at the film, remembering the times that they spent together. But in the video we also see some tension because when Han tries to help Lino ignores him and leaves right after without saying a word. Now, since Mino has a broken arm here, this might be a direct callback to the accident that we saw back in Be Me. Since Han was the one that caused this accident, Mino is still angry at him and their relationship is strained because of that. But Mino is not the only one who is going through it, because as we see 7 members in the movie club, we also see Hyunjin painting alone in a studio. Now, this might actually be a reference to the situation that took place in real life. Just like Hyunjin had to go on a hiatus, the video adapted his absence as him moving away from the group dynamics and spending time alone to focus on himself. This is an absence that is heavily felt by the others because in the video we see that after Hyunjin leaves the studio, Ayan reaches out to him by calling him on the phone. Since Hyunjin left the phone on the desk, however, Ayan's call remains unanswered, so the only thing that he has left are the memories of the past that is never coming back. Now, throughout the video, the theme of nostalgia is actually a major aspect of the story, because as we see the boys moving on by themselves, the memories of the past keep haunting them everywhere they go. In the scene of the supermarket, for instance, we see that when Ayan is buying milk, he hallucinates Felix standing next to him. The type of milk that Felix chooses, moreover, is also the same brand that Ayan took from Hyunjin back in On Track, so this milk carries a lot of emotional baggage because it refers to a time where the 8 of them were all together. As it turns out, however, this is not the only Easter egg that mixes the story with reality, because in the scene of the bus, Changmin is looking at pictures that remind him of a past where Han and Mino were still friends. This is obviously a reference to the fact that in the story the two of them are fighting, but in real life those pictures were actually taken by Hyunjin while they were shooting Be Me, so while the events that we see on screen are obviously part of the story, their desire to reunite is very much real. As Changmin exits the bus, we see Han boarding it, thus missing each other by a second, and much like what happened to Ayan, the moment that he does, Han is overcome by the happy memories of the past. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the concept of them wandering alone as they are haunted by their memories is actually very reminiscent of X, where the boys play the role of ghosts that couldn't move on because they were still attached to their past. Much like in that video, we see that the boys are separated, lost, and their memories both a source of comfort and despair. Since their friendship defined their identity and allowed them to dream, the boys are longing to go back to that past and they regret all the mistakes that led them to lose everything that they cared about. But like it was foreshadowed in X, the ending of this stage of their life might also overlap with a new and unexpected beginning. Now this brings us to yet another important aspect of the video, which is none other than the theme of the dream. As I mentioned earlier, in the context of the story, their dream was to enter a film competition with the movie that they were shooting in the club. This dream, however, was destroyed the moment the boys started to fight, so now that they're growing up and moving on with their lives, the boys are lost because the ending of their friendship made them lose their dream as well. You see, in this context, their unity is essential to succeed. Their dream can only come true if the 8 of them are all together, so them losing this connection not only took away what defined them as people, but also the purpose that they had in their life. Since the boys are graduating, now it's time for them to grow up and face the reality that the past is never coming back. But even if this change might seem like the end of their dream, this is far from it, because now more than ever they have the maturity and agency to really become the people that they want to be. As we see in Anne and Felix's scenes, however, dreams only come true to those who truly want them, and this means that if the boys want to achieve their dream, they actually have to work for it. In order to reunite and find their purpose again, they have to let go of their resentment and reconnect with their youth, not from the perspective of a kid, but with the mindset of an adult, and sure enough, this is exactly what happens next. In the video, we see that when Mino is packing, he actually finds a calendar with a sticker on the 25th of March. This is something that pushes him to go visit Hyunjin and leave him a note that marks the beginning of them finally reconciling. And this is important because the 25th of March is both the date of Stray Kids' debut as well as the date On Track was released to the public. This means that in that scene, Lino is literally reconnecting with his youth both in the story and in real life. In both realities, the 25th of March was the beginning of the dream that they lost, so in order to get it back, Mino reaches out to Hyunjin because now that he has become an adult, he is mature enough to understand that their friendship is what they need in order to make it come true. As the lyrics tell us, them reaching out to one another makes them feel like a child again. Everything becomes more difficult to deal with, but it's also what allows them to regain the dream that seemed to be lost. So by the end, we see Felix making a wish in order to make this dream come true. Now, even if the story ends before knowing the outcome, throughout the video it's actually hinted that Felix's wish to reunite might actually come true in both the story and real life. If in the scene with Bang Chan we see him listening to an unreleased track called The View, Hyunjin is actually painting the image of an eye, so this might be a clue about the upcoming comeback as well as Hyunjin's return as an active member of the group. In order to catch this view, however, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!